Hey guys, this is Patty B within the Hauler. I got another firearm I'd like to share with y'all. This is the Taurus TX22 Generation 2 TORO, chambered in 22 long rifle. Yeah, the TX22 is a polymer frame striker fired pistol that feeds from either 16 or 22 round magazines, and it does come with both. The original TX22 was pretty darn popular as a pretty inexpensive and fairly reliable pistol. I've got a buddy's got one and I shot it and it was pretty decent, but this is the Gen 2. Gen 2 gives you optics ready with a direct RMSC mount and also gives you a bull barrel that's threaded out on the end with just a cover to protect it. Definitely nice thick barrel. I just picked this up from my FFL dealer, so I'm pretty excited about taking this thing out, run a bunch of rounds through it, and see what I think. Specs, got a 4.6 inch barrel, and it weighs 19.7 ounces on my scale with the empty 16 round magazine. We'll hit the features. You've got some decent traction down here on your palmar lower. Wouldn't say it's exceptional, but it's pretty darn good. It does have ambi safety. It doesn't have ambi slide lock slide release. The magazine release is fairly well hidden. I kind of wish it stuck out a little more. You got to try a little hard to hit that, but not bad. A trigger on this, pretty nice. Taurus says you can dry fire these to your heart's content, but I try not to dry fire rim fire pistols any more than I have to. But the trigger on this, pull to the wall, and it's pretty darn light. There's your reset. Pretty darn good trigger on this thing. You do have a rail out here, so you can put whatever you want out there. And like I said, it is threaded. This is just a protector on there. The slide, you've got some serrations on the front and rear, and you've got some nice lightning cuts on there. Definitely a pretty nice looking little pistol. Your sights, just a blacked out U-notch rear and a white dot front. But it's kind of cool. They're Glock compatible, so if you don't like these sights, you can put whatever the heck you want on there. You know, the Glock style sights are the, some of the cheapest and most options that you can get out there. And like I said, it is a direct mount for the RMSC pattern. Disassembly on this, pretty darn simple. Always make sure she's clear. Pull your trigger, move the slide back a little bit. You've got takedown lever down there, and you just pull your slide right off. Pretty simple stuff, pretty neat. Recoil spring guide rod. And there's your chunky barrel. Should be pretty accurate with a barrel that hefty for a 22. Put them back together, it's just the reverse. And you just kind of line it up. Maybe. And pop it back on. So yeah, this thing's pretty cool and fairly inexpensive. You can get these for pretty darn cheap and should be a whole lot of fun. So, well, hey, let's go outside, shoot this thing a bunch, and get some initial impressions on it. And I'll come back in and tell you what I think about this thing. All right, I installed a Viridian RFX 15 green dot sight that I got from a Smith & Wesson rebate, and put a few rounds. I think I got it pretty close to dialed in, but let's shoot this thing and see how she's hitting for us. I'm using Remington Golden bullets. That's kind of my go-to cheap stuff. All right, so I don't know if she doesn't like the Remington Golden bullets or if, she's just got to break in a little bit. But we'll keep on shooting it. If it just doesn't like the Remingtons, we'll swap out to something else. But first thoughts, thing feels pretty good in your hand. It's got a nice trigger. So, as long as she continues to run, she's going to be a lot of fun. So one of the things I did notice when I was doing my review inside before I shot is that, you know, like most 22s, your 16 round mag's got a little tab that you can push with your thumb to make loading easier. Well, you don't have that with the 22 round mag. Instead, it comes with a little mag assist loader, kind of like it comes with a Glock or a lot of other standard pistols. It has the hole for the you know, the thumb catch, but it's not there. So for the 22 round mag, you kind of use this to load it. Makes it a little easier. All right, backed up to about 15 yards. Let's see what we can do. All right, went through a whole magazine of the golden bullets on that one. Maybe she's just breaking in. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it, let you know. Let's try that 25-yard plate. Let's go to 40. All right, well, I think I'm done with the Remington Golden Bullets. Let's go get some Federal Auto Match and see how that does. All right, I grabbed some Federal Auto Match. Let's see if the TX22 likes it any better. Well, that's a promising start. I'll keep running it and see how she does. All right, back inside from shooting a Taurus TX22, and yeah, it was just a blast. I did have issues, you know, with the Remington Golden Bullets. I put maybe 100 rounds through it with those, and I had about one malfunction per magazine. And then I swapped over to Federal Auto Match, and it seemed to like those really well. I didn't have any issues. I know that the Federal Auto Match is a little bit hotter, and I suspect that's what the problem was. But maybe when this thing breaks in a little bit more, it'll run other stuff. You know, that's just kind of the deal with 22s is, you know, they're just a little bit finicky, and sometimes you have to find, you know, what load your gun likes. I think I put about 200 through the of the auto match through this, and like I said, zero issues. So yeah, she's only got 300 rounds on it, so she's not even really broke in, but a whole lot of fun to shoot. My favorite things on this is definitely going to be the grip is really comfortable, and that trigger is pretty darn excellent for a little 22. The sights, I guess I can't say much about them because before I even fired it, I put this little Viridian on there. The sights looked like they would be pretty good, but you know, like I said, they're Glock compatible, so if you don't like them, swap them out. I think the biggest positive on this pistol is the price. These can be routinely found for $250, which is pretty darn excellent. And you know, this thing should give you years of fun on not a whole lot of money, and cheap to shoot to boot. So for the last decade or so, my 22 of choice was my old school Smith & Wesson M&P 22, and this thing has been pretty good to me, and I've shot so many thousands of rounds through it, and I loved it. However, aging eyes got the best of me, so I feel like I needed to put a red dot on it just to help me out a little bit. And this little cheap Viridian did pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see how well it holds up. I don't know much about Viridian optics, but you know, 300 rounds in, I'm happy with what I got. So if you're looking for a budget 22, that you know, one of the cool things is, you know, the magazine size on these, I believe, is probably the largest you can get for any little cheap 22. Pretty darn neat. So if you're looking for a cheap 22 to go outside and do some good plinking, man, I just don't see how you can go wrong with this. And this thing's going to see a whole lot more rounds through it, just because 22 is fun to shoot. So Definitely happy with it, and this thing's gonna continue to get shot all the time. Well, there you go, guys. Taurus TX22. Y'all have a nice day.